Hello there, it's Kim again, coming to you with another paper crafting video. My name is Kim. I'm from Wild Rose and Pearl, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based out of the Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. I'm going to show you today our next paper pumpkin, which is the May Sparkling Celebrations. Now, if you've seen my videos before, you know that I've been doing paper pumpkin forever. A pretty long time. But yeah, so paper pumpkin comes with everything you need. This is the stamp set. It also comes with a ink spot. It comes with your envelopes or whatever you need for your project. Adhesives, all the things. The only thing I would probably add on is a pair of paper snips, just for any incidentals. And then your first paper pumpkin, you're going to get a block. It is a lot thinner than our blocks that we have. It does the trick. It absolutely does. This will come with your first one, and then after that you will not get a block, but you will get your paper pumpkins. But I upgrade and I use this one instead. It's just a little heavier, just feels a little bit better to me. So that's what I will be using today. Okay, so then we can open up the rest of our paper pumpkin here. Pull this out. What do we got? Ooh, these are some pretty saturated colors. Like jewel tones, like very, yeah, pretty saturated colors. This is what we're going to be working with today. Oh, how pretty is that? Okay, so I'll just grab my paper snips. Now they've reduced the size of the instructions now because they want us to be able to store them inside the new packaging. So our instruction sheet is a little smaller than it used to be. That's okay. We're still going to get all the instructions we need on there. And let's pull this off. I'm a little fumbly today. Okay. Put that aside. All right, I'll start off by pulling up this. Okay, so here is our stamps. We're going to get Wishing You Happiness. Some kind of trees, stars, looks like fireworks. You are invited and time to celebrate. So yeah, we're getting into those times of year. So July 1st, July 4th for the US. So this looks like it might tie in a little bit to that. Plus it looks like paper lanterns. I'm not sure what time of year that is, but I'm going to look it up now. So kit components are supplies for 9 cards, 9 envelopes. We've got our video here. The coordinating colors are Blackberry Bliss, Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Hydrangea Hue, which is a new color, Melon Mumbo, Misty Moonlight, Night of Navy, Pumpkin Pie, Black, and Silver today. Silver accents. Okay, so let's pull up the envelopes here. We've got 3 different envelopes, and they are all like a textured skyline. They can be used as designer series paper if you cut them quite nicely. They are not on the inside, but they do fold right around to the back. So yeah, you can use these for designer paper. But I won't be using them for now. So I put them aside, and it looks like we've got double-sided here, which is very cool. Because I've said this before, if you cut this and use a plain base, you get 2 of them, right? When you have double-sided cards. But that's just me being my frugal self. Okay, so we're going to go to this first one here. Whenever you open it up, you go to the first one and it gives you all the components you need for all 3 cards. Then you go step by step, starting with 1, 2, and then 3. Okay. So what we need for card number 1 is we need this. I'm just going to pull these all up here. I'll need one of these sheets, these, one of these, one of these, and then this sheet. Okay, So it's asking me for card number 1. I'm going to need the lantern lights. Okay, we're going to put that over there. And I'll just stack 1, 2, and 3 on my left here. We need a lantern, which was on here. We need a lantern, so we'll pull that out. These are all laser die cuts. They're just in there with these tiny little tabs that hold them in. Okay, 1 lantern. We need 3 light bulbs, 1 big one, 1 medium one, and 1 small one. So 1 light bulb, 1 medium light bulb, and 1 small. Okay, and that looks like, oh, we need a flag. We need a flag for our sentiments. So we've got, they've given us 4, so we've got 1 for a hiccup, 1 extra one for a hiccup, or an alternative card, if you so choose. So 1 banner there. Then we need to use, so now they used to give us a lot of extras before. Like sometimes you would end up with several extras for your projects. Now it's just really the sentiments that you were getting extras for. But it used to be we used to get way more. And that's okay. Okay. I need this big firework because this is a pretty plain front, right? Not really a lot going on there. So we need this big firework here. And as you can see, for some people that used to hate when they would do die cuts and not have the same color, they have extended the color through the back here. So this is going to match this back really well. So you don't have that white border. So I guess they were listening to some of the peoples and decided to make sure that they filled in that white area on some of their stuff. So that one's done. You can use these as stencils too if you like for other projects. So I've seen some people do that. So then we're going to grab 3 of these. 1, 2, and 3. And this is where that silver accent is coming in. We've got that silver on there, as you can see. Okay, and then 1 of these here. We've got the big one, the half one, 3 of those, and the piece. Perfect. Okay, moving on to the next one. The next one we're going to be doing is this lovely one. And yes, I would cut this in half. You can see the silver accents on there. I would cut this in half and use this for 2. For sure, for sure. Okay, and then we're going to grab our window sheet. Now, in theory, I want to remove these, but I'm going to wait till the instructions come because I just want to make sure I'm not doing something I shouldn't be. So 1 paper lantern. These also have silver accents on them. You can see there. 1 of the medium paper lanterns that has 2 on it. And then 1 of the small paper lanterns. And we have a banner that's probably going to be like a sign or a mantle or something. I don't know, on the window. I'm learning as I go, just like you. Okay, so we've got that one there. All right, so now we pull together all of our pieces. Now what I do is I pull up card number 1. So I fold this back and we start working on card number 1. So I'm just going to put that up there, top of the screen, and we'll open up our Misty Moonlight. I'm going to grab my scissors here, or if you have a X-Acto blade, pushing away from the body, I'm going to cut right at the seam, the bottom and top here. then when I go to open it, I've got that back sticker on there. So there we go. Nice and openable now. So first of all, they're going to get us to stamp some trees on this card base. So I'm gonna fold this baby in half and use my bone folder to crease that edge. Now I'm gonna open it up again because I need to stamp on it. So I'm gonna open it up again, still in the frame there, pull off the trees. I've got like a tree stamp here. So now when they come from the factory, they generally have like a residue on them. So I rub them on my hand and then I wipe them off. On my stamper. So I'm just gonna take some stamping spritz, put it on my Stampin' Scrub on the left here. On my left here. I'm just kind of trying to get off all that factory residue. And I give it a little scrub. Another way to do this, to season your stamp, is to take your ink, place it on your stamp, and you can see here, like, this ink is trying to pool a little bit. So another way is to grab a scrap piece of paper. Just gonna grab a scrap piece or even a Post-it note. I'll grab a Post-it note here. And I'm just gonna stamp it off. Now that's a pretty good stamp that I already got on that one. So that one actually worked out really well. But if you need to season it, just stamping it and stamping it off a couple of times just seasons the stamp just enough that the ink doesn't pool anymore. Like, it goes on pretty good after that. But by rubbing off that residue, I was able to make it even better. Okay, so we're just stamping this along the bottom here. And we're stamping it over and over again along the bottom. So let's do that. I think I might start in the middle. And because they're clear, I can see the edge of my stamp and the paper. So just, ooh, straight up and down. Stuck pretty good there. And crazy enough, yeah, color theory is coming into play. This is Misty Moonlight. This is a blue. But for some reason, well, we all know the reason, those of us who know anything about mixing colors. Yellow and blue make green. So it's kind of like a forest green color. So I'm going to go down a little bit on this one, just so my bushes look a little bit different in size. I'm going to make the edge of my, now, as you can see here, I've got a little bit left now because I went down. There's a little bit left there. Don't put that back on because you will get a really dark line across. So I'm just going to stamp over it again. That's the thing about second generation. If you ever stamp off of it, always make sure to stamp off that excess ink that didn't get attached. Okay, and then this one I'm going to go a little bit higher again. But see, there's still some ink there. Yeah, that was something I was reminded of this week. If you ever do second generation stamp and you ever have part of your stamp not on there, it will affect your imagery with that leftover ink. Okay. We're almost done with this one. Almost. And then we'll work on our sentiment. That was the first thing they put on there, was the sentiment, but of course I went rogue. Just a touch rogue. Not too bad. Okay. So now I've got my lovely bushes on the bottom here. I'm going to take this stamp off my block and put it aside to be cleaned. There we go. Pull this away. I don't want that messy mess in there. And then we're going to pull in my sentiment piece. I'm going to do a little bit of trimming for any of the edges that might be. Just this paper is so dark that any of those little white nibs is going to show up pretty strongly on there. So I'm just going to make sure I get those off. Okay. Sentiment with the flag pointing to the right. We are going to put "You are invited." Now with script, you can see you can curve these if you want to. So to make sure that they lay down nice and flat, I always put them on my work surface, grab my stamping block, and then pick them up. That way they're in their most natural state. Now, I'm going to mess this all up because I'm going to try and rub off that residue and give them a little clean. So when I do that and I move it around a bit, I pull it off again, put it on my work surface, and then I pick it up again with my block. And you could have seen that. That's good. Okay, so we've got it seasoned, taking all that yuckus away. Okay, now let's just take a moment here and see. That looks fabulous. Okay. So we're just going to stamp our stamp here. You are invited. Now, I'm probably going to bonk this with my head here, trying to get under. I can see through, but I am stamping white on white here. Like my little white piece is matching my background. That looks fabulous. That is a very nice stamp. Perfect. Okay. You are invited. So we're done our stamping. We've done step 1 and step 2. Now we're going to put tear and tape on the back of our sentiment, the back of our light post. We're going to put some tear and tape on the back of this light bulb. And then we're going to put dimensionals on the bulb part of all of them. Okay. Dimensionals on the bulbs. So let's make sure that we take all those little nicks off of there. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay. So we came in our package, we got our tear and tape and we got our dimensionals here. So we're just, and we've got some embellishments in there as well. So we're just going to pull those pieces out so we can use them. And it looks like we've got mini dimensionals and our tear and tape. Now, if you want, you can use glue for this. You don't have to use your tear and tape. But if you are traveling, like camping with your kits or at a hotel or something, of course, you're going to want to use the stuff in the kit, right? It's just easier. But yeah, you can do these anywhere. I've taken these to the hospital and stuff to do. You know, if you're just waiting around. That tear and tape is pretty much the exact width of that lamppost. Pretty much the exact width of that lamppost. I had to make sure I got that on there pretty good because it's like the exact width. Okay, and then a tiny touch in the bottom of my light bulb here. And of course I tore it a little too big. Beauty thing is I can snip it off with my scissors or I can tear it off again. I'm just going to add that to my thing here. Okay, and then here's another tool that I absolutely love. This is called the Take Your Pick tool. It has a nib on the end, a putty nib on the end to pick up any embellishments like sequins and things. And then it also has this lovely pick tool that I use to pull off, and I add it to the backs of my things. Now, of course, that top came off that one, but normally that doesn't happen. And when I go to add these on, taking those backings off because I don't have great nails, I can take my take your pick and I can poke the back of the backing and pull up, and it pulls that backing right off. Fabulous little tool, I must say. Useful for more than just crafting. Okay, I'm also going to use it to take off the backing off all my things. So here we go. Now we've got our lamppost. We're going to put our lamppost on the left-hand side, and it is going to go approximately, I want to say 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch from the left-hand side of my project here. Now I laid that down just a touch. Just a touch. I find it wild though that the bottom, it's so wild. Color theory, hey, you mix yellow and blue and you get green. That blue ink turned into green, turned into the green forest. Green forest below. Okay, so you are invited. Oh, that was supposed to have tear and tape on it too. I'm gonna get that prepped. It's just a quick little tear there. If you only have scissors, you can use the tips of your scissors too to pull off, to poke and pull. They're just a little more awkward shape. So you are invited is going to go over top. Now let's see. Where's my biggest light bulb going to be? It's going to be right below there. So I want to put this about, biggest light bulb is going to be approximately that long. So this is 1.5 inches up. It's 1.5 inches up, and it's flush with the left edge of the card. So try to get that nice and straight. Then I'm going to pull my tear and tape off because it's going to be attached to my medium light bulb. So putting on our small light bulb first and pushing down the top. The top is going to kind of push down. Then we're going to put on our medium light bulb. It's going to go next to that one. And then we're going to take our third light bulb and put it over top of both of them. And then I'm going to take the third light bulb and I'm going to push down on it. And it's kind of going to push all the tops of the light bulbs down. And this is where we're at. And that is our first card finished. That was very, very quick. So you are invited. We've got our light bulbs here. And you can see like it's flat. We've popped up here, but then we pushed this down to make it flat. So it has some scoop dimension to it. But yeah, quite a nice card. Love how that's green, you know? Simple things make me happy. But yes, you can see that there's silver accents in all of these lights, which make it really great. And then you've got your silver in there. Cute card. Very cute card. Okay, we'll put that one off to the left. And then I pull back in my instructions and I move to sheet number 2. Sheet number 2 is all kinds of fireworks celebrations here. Okay. Now we've got to change out our stamp. So I'm going to pull this one off. Put that to the side to be cleaned. Time to celebrate. This one, man, these are fast. These cards are going to be fast. This one here is just time to celebrate, and we're putting it on that round piece. But I can tell, like, there's not a lot of, there's all kinds of pretty accents to it, but there's not a lot of froofiness to these ones. Okay, time to celebrate. We're going to pull in this piece here. And again, because I'm working on dark colors, I'm going to make sure that all of those little tabs are taken off. I don't want them to be hyper-focused on. Not that I'm not hyper-focusing on them right now as I'm doing this. But it's just those little tick things that hold them on. Okay. Misty Moonlight. We're going to place that. Time to Celebrate. Let's give that a little stamp, a little extra seasoning. It's looking good. Now, we have gone to our Canada Day celebrations every year. We have lovely parades that happen in this really small town next to us. And we even have all of these princesses come on floats, and we have a local ambassador program here where those ambassadors go on floats and wave at all the kids. And it's a parade that's on the beach, like on the beach. So yeah, it's pretty fabulous. And then they have these lovely fireworks, and you see everybody on their boats and they're in the water. And yeah, it's just a lovely way to spend some time with your kiddos. Okay, we're gonna fold this over. But yeah, we've been going to that parade and that celebration forever and ever. Oh, forever and ever and ever. Been going there our whole lives, my husband and I. Okay, so here, oh, I've got the orientation incorrect. Our orientation is hot dog, not hamburger. Okay, so we're going to be adding this to here and this to here. And then all of our little fireworks go along the side. Okay. Now, Time to Celebrate is tucked in and under according to the instructions here. So I might audition these, as they say, audition them, put them on, and then lay out my pieces. So I am going to grab all of my dimensionals, because this is all dimensionals except for the Time to Celebrate. So Time to Celebrate, we're going to make sure we put our adhesive in the middle according to the instructions. So adding my tear and tape to the middle. Again, if you have glue, feel free to use that instead. You can save your tear and tape for other things. Would love to hear about your celebrations that you have in your communities. If you ever want to make any comments on the videos, would love to hear. Canada Day celebration has always been great. But yeah, we always go to the small town one. We don't go to the big town. We have a bigger town, and then we have a small town. And we always go to the smaller town one. We just find it a little more low key. Just feels more relaxed down there. The kids love it because they can go into the water. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we're going to put 2 on our big one, and each of the other ones got 1. So 2 on the half pint there. Okay, so again, I could see how it was getting laid out here, but this one gets tucked under, as you can see here. Let me bring that in closer. So this one gets tucked under these 2 fireworks. So I kind of want to do it before I put the other one on. Like I don't want to do it after, because then I'm trying to tuck it under and bending it and all this stuff. So I'm going to audition these pieces in first. Because I don't want to make a boo-boo. Okay. So those can move out of the way once I get this backing off. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to move this one out of the way without tacking it down. I'm going to audition this in place. See, that's covering the E over there. So I want to move that over and down. I should have maybe that stamping to the top, but no, it looks like it's supposed to go in like this. Okay, so now that I know that it's underneath that properly, now I'm going to squish it down. Push it down now. I feel more confident about it down there. Oh, I think I see what happened. they've got a silver one down here. So this is coming about here, but there's a silver one that's going to tuck in there. So that can come down a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's put on our half one. And it's so funny, like one of the years that we had our fireworks. So your fireworks are getting shot off the beach. They're not on a barge. Like the bigger town has them coming off of like a barge in the water. The one in the small town, they take them right off the beach. Now, the fire department one time, the fire department does it. And one time the fire department set off this firework and it ended up going into the like lagoon right in front. But I'll tell you, we were all sitting on the beach, like sitting on the park side of the beach there, all very, very, very concerned because it went off and then it kind of, it lost its oomph and then started falling towards basically the crowd. And so we were just sitting there going, and it's like, sometimes you just wonder like, oh boy, you're never bored. That's for sure. Come on to our small town. You never be bored. Now this one here, I should have had the dimensional closer to the edge. So that is one thing I would say is put your dimensional closer to the edge. So when you go to tuck it over there, you're not putting a dimensional on top of here. And now I'm going to take that little piece of tear and tape that I had and I'm going to place that underneath here so I can adhere it down to my fireworks layer on here. Because it just needs a little more to add it to it. Okay, so then this one can go down here. And then we're going to put the third one tucked in and abutted to the piece there. So there we go. There's our third one. Now I'm not seeing any of our little pieces being added, any of these being added yet. I'm not seeing any of this being added yet. So maybe they want us to have freedom for that. I really like knowing. So I might look at the front just to see what they've done at the front. But I haven't seen add these. I haven't seen any add the little bits yet. And here's the third one. And I still haven't seen any add the little bits. Okay, so that's one thing that's missing on these instructions is that part. So I would look at the front. It doesn't look like they've added them to the cards, but I will take a closer look on the front to have a look-see. So there's card number 2. Let's work on card number 3 now. So I'm going to put card number 3 there. And we're going to be pulling back in some oldies but goodies. So we are going to be pulling back in that tree bush stamp for this project. So we're going to fold this in half. I just like to get that crease going. And I'm going to stamp 3 trees on the bottom. Ha! I had this upside down. Make sure we open it properly because I always think ombre. I think sunset, right? I'm like, oh, I got to go from the dark from the bottom. No. Okay, so here we go. Going this way. And because I don't want to overlap and hit the back piece, because I just might cut this back piece off and use it, right? I'm going to close the card. Normally I wouldn't say doing that. Easier to work on the flattest surface you can, but I think we'll be good. And we're going to open up our pad. And this is already seasoned, so I know I'm good. I'm just going to stamp her right on there. But I am going to start from the middle and work out to the edge so that I don't end up with an image that's, you know, half of the image at the end. I just want to make sure I get nice evenness. So we're going to stamp our 3 bushes on the bottom here. Now I'm not seeing why we need to stamp the 3 bushes because we have this window, but maybe, I guess when you open up the card, it's going to show it. but it's not really showing it in the examples here. So I am just gonna do it. Ink is pooling a little bit. I'm gonna stamp it once. I'm gonna stamp it again just to even that up a bit. It will be fine, but just liking to make sure. Okay, so I've got my bush in the center here. My now green bush. Now paper lanterns, I'm sure we're not allowed to do those here. We are in a fire territory, so doing paper lanterns is a little risky, more than a little risky here, because when they land, they would light things on fire. So, I mean, if you wanted to do it in the winter, you might be able to pull that off, but in the summer here, people would look at you like, what are you thinking? I would love to know what the tradition is regarding paper lanterns, and I'm going to look it up after this because I want to go down a rabbit hole. I want to figure out where the paper lanterns come from. Because it is beautiful. Like the idea of those just being in the sky. Very pretty. Okay, so we've done the that stamp and take that one off to be cleaned. And then we're pulling in wishing you happiness. So with Paper Pumpkin, there's always extra stamps that we just don't use in our project. So this time it's the fireworks and the stars. So if you want to make more projects or you want to use those for something else, always remember that there's extras in there, right? So I'm just going to do this again just to get it all prepped for that ink. Yeah, so you can make alternate projects, and if you go online on places like Facebook, Instagram, all those kinds of things, you can see alternate projects that are done with these kits every month. And some of them have been done since the very beginning. There is a lady out of the US called Stamp Your Art Out, and she has been doing Paper Pumpkin alternatives since the very beginning. So if you need some ideas and you have some boxes lying around that you haven't opened up yet, or you just couldn't do them when you got them, it's a great opportunity to go and see what she's done with them. So we're going to stamp this with the tops of the shelf at the very top. So we're going to put that to the top, and we're going to stamp our wishing you happiness. And there, please don't mind my head. It's probably in the frame. There we go. Wishing you happiness. It's looking good. Put that over to be cleaned. I got it all in the frame there, so that's good. Next up, we're going to start doing all of our adhesives. So I believe we're going to have to pop these out. So we're going to pop this part out. 1, 2, 3. Now these are great little pieces that you can use to stamp other sentiments that you might have. Easy little sentiment piece for another project or another kit. I don't think any of the sentiments in this kit will fit on there, but you could put some stars on one. Find some of your other stuff that you have. So we are taking out these pieces, it looks like, and it looks like this is actually a window. So what I am gonna do, just making sure those little bits aren't on there. Yeah, those are looking pretty good. Wishing you happiness is going to get glued onto the bottom. We've got one, our big one, our little one, our 2 mediums, and we've got our piece. So these are all dimensionals on these ones. This one is tear and tape throughout it all, but I am going to lightly fold these windows back with my fingers, because when you go to use these, I want to be able to kind of pre-do it before the person gets it. Just breaking the fibers of that card, so when they go to do it, it's just easier for them to open and close it. So I'm just going to run my bone folder across that. And then I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put it back like this. Just so when they want to go open it up, if they want to go open it up, it just opens a little easier. I've broken the fibers of the paper. So that it doesn't tear when they go to open it. So just a little pressure on there. And those laser pieces are just grabbing a hold on tight. Okay, so we've just got those there. There we go. And bring them back. And now if somebody wants to do the interactive part, it just folds a little easier to open. It's now going to open up a lot nicer. Okay. So again, putting those back down. Of course, I had to open it again. Silly me. Now we're going to add our tear and tape to the back of this. Where did I put that? There it is. And it's asking for the tear and tape to go all the way around the outside edge. Now, because I don't want that to lift up there, I'm actually going to add some to the edge of where I folded that paper so that that part stays on the card. It doesn't call for this, but you usually get a little bit more adhesive than you need for the projects. So I'm going to take a risk and use my tear and tape to hold that one down. This would be a great project for the tear and tape, because you want that strength in the project on those edges. And tear and tape is probably the strongest thing we have. We use it mostly a lot of times on our 3D projects. Tear and tape. Okay, so there's the back of that one ready to go. I am going to add all my pieces to these though. So grabbing my take your pick tool, we're going to put in a couple of these. Now I'm going to do 3 points on this big one because I believe I can. So I'm going to. And just another side tip, see the edges of this? This is usable as well. So if you just take your paper snips and you snip them like so, they can be used as well. So I will just grab those pieces off and I will use those as well. So I'm going to use one of these little itty bitty ones on the little one. Add my edge there. But just thought I'd let you know that as a little side tip that those are great pieces to use for your projects too, especially these little bits in here. They work so great. Excuse me. Hope that didn't scare you. If you're watching and your volume is up, I hope that didn't scare you. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put on our 3 of these first. So first of all, we're putting on this big one. We are going to add this big one. Right directly between these two. Now I'm believing that this is going to have to be within the window frame because the window is going to pop open a little bit, right? It's going to be popping open a little bit with the dimension of these because you're flattening the edge of your window frame and then you're placing these on. Okay, so then the second one is going to go directly below this big one here, like so. Then we're going to do our small one. That's going to go in directly below the big one there. Okay, then we're going to take the window and we're going to place that over card front here. And that's gonna, looks like it's gonna flush up with the edges of the card. So I'm gonna try and line up my edges of my card here. I'm sticking to my project. So it's very sticky, so I better be careful with how I do this. So I'm gonna line up the 3 corners and make sure my left edge is nice and flat. Lining up that left edge really nice. Up and down, nice and even. And then I'm just gonna lay this over that card base. Nice and even. There we go. It's looking pretty good. I might have the slightest sliver of darkness there on that top edge. The slightest sliver. And you can see the window is trying to pop open. See how it's dimensioned now? That window is trying to pop open. And you can see the bushes underneath here, although you never thought from the pictures that you would. And then we're going to take our sentiment and we're going to pop that up on, that's popped up on dimensional. So we're going to take the backings off of that. I put 3 points on for stability. And we're just going to center that, or no, we're going to line that up right with the white bottom edge here because it is like a window mantle. So lining that up nice and centered, left to right, and right up with the white frame of the window. There's a white frame on the bottom there. So there we go. And we can open up our little window if we wanna. That one's really cute. That's a really cute interactive card. I really like that one. But I likely will probably take that back off and make another one. Waste not, want not. Okay, so that's it for today. We have these lovely, lovely, lovely sparkles, and I don't know where I put them. Maybe not on that one. I could add them to the center of the fireworks on this one. That could be fun. Some really, yeah, that actually would be really fun on these silver fireworks. Why did I have to put that off to the left a little bit? Of course I had to not line it up in the middle, right? So now that glue dot is on there. It's because there's a dimensional underneath it now, and I'm fighting with that dimensional, which is why I usually like to make 3 points. There we go. Ooh, okay. So see the difference between that one and that one now? I think I like that one better. That is just, wow, sparkly. Very cool. I'm going to go with the sparkle in the middle of the firework. That is how this is going to go down. So that means I could do all 3 of my projects with the sparkles, and I'd have enough for one more. Now, if you wanted to, you could do your stamping like this and use those sparkles for your own little projects, right? Those would go right directly in the middle of that stamp as well. So that would look pretty cool if you did your stamps and then put that in there. But yeah, I think this one's pretty good the way it is too. No need to add more, but yeah, that really kind of pops that one up a bit more. So there's our projects for today. I will grab the envelopes, bring those in, and now which one would that be? That would be with that one. This would be with this one. Having the envelopes, matching envelopes is pretty nice. Pretty nice, but like I said, you could use that as paper too. If you so choose, you can use your envelopes as extra paper, but those look pretty good. And that's our paper pumpkin for May 2026. Thank you for watching. I hope this inspires you and makes you think maybe, that paper pumpkin could be not a bad little investment, because you always get the opportunity to use the stamps again, right? So this was our stamps for this month. Let's say you had a birthday party or something, you could use the Time to Celebrate stamp again, and some of these things for other projects. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.